everybody. Step number 1, feed your starter. Step number 2, the starter's mature. Now let's look here at the starter. The starter is now bubbly. It has come up this high from, it was like this high in my jar. Now it's come this high, and it's bubbly. It's light and airy. It has fed on the flour and water I gave it. So we're ready to make our dough. All right. So what we have here is a scale. And I'm going to measure this according to grams. Now, why do we do that? Why don't we just measure out cups and half cups or whatever? And that is to get a more exact measurement. Because if I were to put a cup on here and fill it with flour and I would level it off, well, some might be leveled like that. Some might be indented. That would be a different measure. Some it might be packy. It might be loose. So in order to get an exact measurement so that my bread always turns out well, I'm going to use a scale. So I've got it set on grams. So I'm going to put my bread bowl on here. Now, I just got to tell you about this bread bowl. So my bread bowl, I learned to make bread, regular yeast bread, when I was in high school. My piano teacher, she milled her own flour. She did everything from scratch. And she gave me this bread bowl, and she taught me how to make bread. Now, that was a different kind of bread, but I just always remember her. While I'm talking about people, let me just say my daughter gave me this in my sourdough apron, which my daughter Suzanne gave this to me. So I'm wearing this in her honor today. And also, we're going to mill some flour in a minute. My daughter Lauren gave me this a couple years ago, and I've enjoyed making whole wheat. So we'll get to that in a minute. Okay, moving on. Here we go. All right, I'm going to put that on there. I'm going to take my all-purpose, organic, unbleached flour. I'm going to do 500 grams. Now, this is going to make 2 loaves. All right, so I've got a little bit more than I need in there. I guess that's just, you don't have to be exact. Now, I put in the cookbook that you could use any flour. You could use all-purpose. You could use all bread. You could use all whole wheat. But I like to use a mixture of all of them. Okay, now moving on to my food mill. All right, so I buy wheat berries. Now, I buy them, the first time I ever bought them in this little small container. Like, this is what, 3 pounds. But then I quickly moved to the 25-pound tub. And so that's what I use now. These wheat berries just look like this. You can actually cook wheat berries. But that's what they look like. You can just buy whole wheat from the store if you want to use whole wheat in your bread. This is just what I use. I have started making for myself 100% whole wheat because it has the bran included in it and it's better for you, but it's a denser loaf. So when I make bread to give to somebody, I put some whole wheat in it, but I don't use all whole wheat. And another thing is if you mill your own, it's better for you because the minute you start milling it, it breaks down that outside fiber, which is good for you. But then it starts losing its potency. So like the whole wheat flour that you buy from the store is not going to be as good for you as milling your own. So I'm going to mill. It's going to be loud for just a second. So give me just a second. All right, here we go. While that's doing, I'm going to go ahead and put 250 grams of unbleached bread flour. Unbleached. So I'm going to put 250 grams of this. We're going good here. It's almost through. There are 3 settings on my mill. We can go pastry, bread, or coarse. If I were doing popcorn and making cornbread, I'd go coarse. But I'm milling this, we're on the bread setting. There are all kinds of grain mills that you can buy. This one Lauren gave me I love because it fits in my cabinet. It's not so tall that it won't fit into my cabinet, so I can put it away. All right, so let's see what it looks like. There you go. That's amazing. So let's put some healthy grains in here. Let's go 200 grams now of the whole wheat. There you go. All right, so I'm going to set this aside now. Like I said, this is going to start losing its potency or whatever because I've already broken down the bran. So I'm going to put this in a bag, the rest of this in a bag, and I'll put it in the freezer and we'll use it another time. Okay, so that's all the flour. All right, so now I'm going to put water, 650 grams of water. So I come back to my spring water and I am going to measure out 650 grams. All right, got 650 grams of water. Okay, now I'm going to put this water on top of the flour. Now some people do what they call an auto lease at this point. So now we're going to measure out, let me tear out my scale, and we're going to measure out 20 grams of flour, of salt. All right, there's my 20 grams of salt. That's the last thing. And now we're going to measure out our starter. Now, the starter is going to be foamy. It is great. That starter is in great shape. So we're going to do 200 grams of starter. And we'll get as close to all these measurements as possible. It's really hard to get it right on the dot. Let's see what this is going to be. That's going to be 213. We're just going to call that it. And dump the starter in. Now, some people, when they make sourdough, they mix up their water and their starter together first, and then they add it to their flour. That's not what I do, but you could do that. This is what I put, this is what I keep on my starter so that it's not completely covered. So it can, well, it's completely covered, but you can still get some from the air. Okay, and now my salt. Now this is, what is this? This is sea salt. At home, sometimes I use the sea salt, sometimes I use the Himalayan pink salt. You can use whichever, but something natural is best. All right, now I go in with my hands. I used to go in with a dough hook. I don't do that anymore because it would initially, it would initially mix things up, but then when it got hard to stir, then it's not going to do anything. So I have to use my hands anyway, so I'm like, just going to go in from the beginning with my hands. I enjoy this because it feels like the dough's alive. So anyway, that's a lot of fun for me. So I'm going to go around and around and around till I clear, so I can clear the bowl. Now it says, the instructions to this say you should do this for 5 minutes, and I used to do that. I used to knead, well, I call this kneading it. I used to knead it for like 5 minutes. I don't do that anymore because I couldn't tell the difference between me doing this for 5 minutes and me not doing it for 5 minutes. And I'm just too impatient of a person. I'm like, I'm not going to stand there for 5 minutes. So here I go. I'm just going to make sure that I feel like all the starter is incorporated into that dough. So that's what I'm going to do. So I think that's about ready. All right, now I'm going to get all that good stuff off of my hands as much as I can, because that's going to be another slice. If you look at it that way, everything is on my hands. All right, now you could cover it with various things. I have here, right behind me. Well, I think I'll use this. All right, I have a towel. All right, I'm going to take my towel. I'm going to wet it. Now, this has got to be covered. If not, it's going to dry out. Okay, this is just an old towel. It's fine. It's clean. That's what I generally do. Now, you could cover it with plastic wrap, but see, plastic wrap is plastic. And plastic is not really good for you. So I don't want to cover it with plastic. I could put a plate over it if I had a plate that was big enough. But usually I just use a wet towel. Now, why is it wet? It's wet because it will mold to this and cover all this up. It won't just hang and let air get into it. So this is going to sit for 30 minutes. And then I'm going to begin my stretch and folds. And the stretch and folds will be the next session.